Welcome back to another episode of Silent Pals Go to the Movies. This is another Throwback Thursday review, and I'm here with my friend Touly. Say hi, Touly.
Hi, everyone.
And today we're going to be reviewing American Psycho. And just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. A wealthy New York investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternative psychopathic ego from his coworkers and friends as he dives deeper into his violent fantasies. On my list of pros, I'm going to start off with the cast. Christian Bale, Jared Leto, Reese Witherspoon, Samantha Mathis, William Dafoe. This is a great list of actors, especially even if Jared Leto died pretty fast in the movie. But that scene is still both laughable and crazy at the same time. So it's really an incredible scene for me. The next quick point I'm going to make is the camera shots. They don't follow the norm we normally see in movies. They seem to be a representation of Patrick Bateman's inner mind, who is played by Christian Bale, how sporadic it is, and sometimes the shot is centered, then quickly goes to a close-up shot of an object, then returns but not to a center shot, instead of an over-the-shoulder shot. And this is paired with Bateman's voiceover narration, which I think makes the movie a good character study, and it dives deeper into his mentality as a psychopath. Next, I like how the movie gives you the choice to decide if Patrick Bateman is really a killer, as if he really killed all those people or he didn't. Did he just imagine it or daydream them? As for me, I feel that he did, but in his world, everybody is more interested and focused on wearing the same suit, taking care of their skin, wearing the same glasses, and basically more materialistic and focused on how they appear and trying to fit in and be normal to other people. They don't care much of what it's really happening versus what other people see them as. And for this, it's evident as he's confessing to people, they're not really listening. Every time he tells people, he confesses to them that he's done things. They just laugh in his face and they just basically say, oh, that can't be it because you're this person, and they mistake him for other people because they all look alike. Especially the apartment where he killed all those people. They're in it for the money and they quickly try to clean it up. As we see the paint in the apartment, they clean it up. Why? Because they want to basically flip the apartment to rent it out to make profit. In a sense, they want profit over lives. In this reality, in this world, it's more about material stuff versus the reality that's happening. Now, for my cons, some of the scenes are comical. For example, when Bateman kills, he has to bring up the musical albums every time and go into a long trivia about it. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's really comical. My next con is the detective, who is played by William Dafoe, seems to disappear in the middle of the movie. What happened to him? Where did he go? Did he finish his job? We don't see anything else from him, even at the end of the movie. I would have liked it if Bateman had a showdown with him, maybe killed him, or maybe even try to frame somebody else, and for him to come up to him and say, hey, thank you for helping me out. I actually caught who it was, because that's what I thought he was doing with the girls, because he was trying to take over somebody else's identity and maybe frame them, and say, ask these girls, they know what happened, they were with him. I thought that was going to be in the movie. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to my friend Touly and see how he saw this movie and what grade he gave the movie.
I'm going to start off by saying I feel kind of conflicted about this film in that I do love the cast. Very, very strong cast in this film. I thought Christian Bale did a tremendous job in portraying a character who was kind of out of his mind and was trying to give us the sense of what is reality in his world versus what is currently reality, the reality that he is living in, and trying to differentiate between the people who inhabit it and how they are reacting to each other, to life, and how his character is going about treating these individuals, how he sees them, and what he wants to do with them as he mentally notes or says them out loud. Some people not hearing him correctly, and as Sal said, just brush it off as a normal conversation because they're not putting in the effort to actually listen to what he's saying, or in fact, just maybe other people as well for that matter. So I think that was an aspect of the film that I was gravitating towards, that the film was trying to create this world that was trying to fuse what reality was in general versus what reality was in the mind of Christian Bale's character, and then fuse that into one reality. But I think as the film progressed, especially going towards the third act, that reality started to become more defined, in that the reality that the movie was trying to present, to me at least, was the one in Christian Bale's head. Because some of the things that happened towards the end of the film, it was a little too over the top for me, and I wish they would have just kept it more towards this psychological sort of thriller. And I feel like the movie should not have gone as far as it did to sort of portray what Christian Bale's character would go to, like the length he would go to in order to reflect the sort of mindset that he was in. So the couple examples I can come up with is his encounter with the cops and how he was shooting at them, and then all of a sudden the cars blow up and all the cops around the area got killed. That kind of like took me out of the movie for a sec there, because at that point I was still in this fused reality that I mentioned between what was Christian Bale's head and the actual reality that his character was inhabited in. But when I saw the car blew up the way it did, and then all the cops just get killed, that to me felt kind of out of place. And actually, before that scene, there was the scene with the two girls who he invited for the night. Not the first go around, but the second go around. And where the lady discovered all the dead bodies at the apartment, and she was running away from Patrick. And then as she was going down the stairs, and then you see Christian Bale drop his chainsaw and it land right on the lady. So that was another scene that just took me out of the film for a sec. I was like, that could not have happened the way it was shown. No way. Had they been more discreet about that, or more subtle about it, and not go through that chainsaw sort of kill and have that lady succumb to a different type of death and keep me within that reality that I was talking about, I would have been okay with that. But those two scenes really made me become a believer of, oh, this is just Patrick Bateman's world. Like things that he's been doing, I was starting to really feel that they were just all in his head, which then coming full circle at the end when he has admitted guilt to whom we think is his lawyer, and his lawyer is denying it because the person who Patrick has admitted to killing, his coworker, he was proven to still be alive because somebody saw him in London. Yes, it does in a way reflect this notion of people not willing to listen to you. I mean, in a general sense, but given the mental state of Christian Bale's character and just a couple of these scenes that were too out there, it really just coming full circle at the end with his line of him kind of just living in his own mind, being alone with it through Jean's discovery of that notebook and all the drawings and stuff. If anything, she's probably the person who's gonna turn Patrick in, I would assume, even though the movie kind of stopped there, of her looking at what Patrick has been conjuring up in sort of like from mind to paper. And then also, I want to just bring this up, Willem Dafoe, like for some reason, and maybe this has been, I'm pretty sure I'm late to the party here by saying this, but it seems like he enjoys playing these detective sort of roles, because when he popped up as the detective in this film, the first thing that came in my head was, really again? Really, William? I mean, I love you as an actor, right? But really, another detective role? So, I don't know. It's kind of funny when he showed up the way he did. But I do agree with Sal that I would have liked to see him a bit more in the film and have him be involved in chasing Patrick around versus him just simply being there to interrogate him. I thought that was going to be like a dynamic that would have guided at least like the second or the third act. But he was just barely there to sort of be a catalyst to Patrick and his sense of sanity. So, yeah, I mean, I wish the detective would have just played a little more detective role in this film. Oh, and I just want to clarify something too. I do agree that Patrick did kill people in the film, or he had killed people, leading to where the movie started off at. What I was trying to get at though, with me losing this sense of whether everything was just happening in his head or not, to me, I would say it's sort of like, instead of like the number of people that Christian Bale's character said that he killed, I think during his call with his lawyer, where he mentioned like he had killed like 20 people, maybe even up to 40. It's kind of like that, where yes, had the movie not kind of lost me there with those outrageous scenes, then I would have been more inclined to believe that yes, he could have killed up to like 40 or even more than that individuals. But because of those two scenes, I'm willing to now believe that, oh, maybe he only killed like 10 or significantly less, just put it that way. Like, it's not to the amount that he said he did. So that's kind of like what the scenes did to me. Do I still believe that he's a killer? Yes, I still believe that he killed people, but not to the extreme that the movie was trying to make it seem, just because those two scenes were too out there for me. I think overall though, the film was alright. I think I liked it a little bit more than I would like an average film, but I didn't think it was like stellar. Again, I thought Christian Bale did a great job at portraying this character who was kind of like out of his mind, the way he was narrating, how he was feeling, and what his routines were, especially at the beginning of the film. The way Patrick reacted to the folks at the cleaners, very, very out there, but then he suddenly goes from this extreme aggressive state to this very calm state when somebody stepped into the shop and he's talking to him now in this sort of like normal sort of fashion. So I would say kudos to Christian Bale's character. I think he was probably, being the main character. I bring this up because sometimes the main character doesn't actually steal the show as they should, but I thought definitely Christian Bale's character did steal the show and was pretty consistent with, again, this madman sort of state of what was real and what's not. But the film kind of lost me when those two scenes that I brought up came about, and my only suggestion to those, like I said too, was if they just toned it down or did it in a different manner that didn't cause me to suddenly lose my grip of what was reality and what wasn't, then I would have liked this film a lot more. With that, I think I'm going to give the film a 6, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. One of those two scores.
I agree with Touly. There is some scenes that are really far-fetched, especially the cop scene. And this brings me to my whole idea of he starts hallucinating and losing touch in reality. And I attribute it to when he is with the two girls the second time and they're drinking and he puts the pills. Maybe he took some of that champagne or wine and he drugged himself. When he did that, that's when we get the chainsaw scene, we get the ATM scene, and the cop scene. So to me, maybe that is when he started hallucinating and he did end up calling the lawyer and started saying those outrageous numbers. So he did not really kill those people during that whole hallucination when he picked up the cat, because the ATM said, feed me the cat. And that's when he started shooting the lady. He goes into the lobby, shoots the guard. From there, he shoots the cops and, goes on and on. Which leads us to the next day. We see him stressed out, still taking pills, and he's stressed out thinking that he's going to end up going to jail or something. This leads to the next scene when he sees the lawyer. The lawyer confuses him for another character, and this is happening throughout the movie since the beginning. He's being confused for different people, and it's basically natural. Everybody's confusing everybody because this is what society is doing. Everybody is trying to look like everybody else, trying to fit in, especially with the cards. Everybody has the same card that says vice president, and they're trying to compete to fit in, to outdo each other, get reservations, materialistic. The same thing happens when they're watching the Reagan speech. Everything that happens with the Reagan speech is a commentary towards Christian Bale's character, towards Patrick, saying that he's a liar and he's just lying and he's putting on a fake facade. So to me, this movie is going to receive a 7 out of 10 in my book. This movie is an interesting movie to see. So I guess that does it for this review of American Psycho. Please join us next time where we're going to review Sinister, the #1 scariest movie according to science.
Nobody died here, okay? It's not like we're sleeping where somebody was killed. It's not like they had to wipe blood off the walls for the open house.
You're saying it didn't happen here?
No, it happened in the backyard.
Oh, that is so sad.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.